Hi Dominika, so it's been a while since I did this. I've just had other things to do and my company year end and a few things like that, but we're back on it now. So this is a file that I haven't opened for a week or so, but I was pretty sure at the time I'd got to something that satisfied most of your notes and comments, but there are some things that I wanted to point out. So let's jump into a section view, makes that slightly easier to look at, and I'm going to get rid of the transparent room. So I'm going to jump between this model and your notes. Top track to be installed immediately above the shelf. So I think my general comment was that we're sort of losing sight of the fact that Elfa is a tolerant system, that, you know, it's a modular tolerant system that has plenty of adjustment within certain parameters. It's not going to be able to deliver millimetre perfection on every requirement you've placed on it with your set of notes. Let me just there we go, and I think I'll just get rid of the lid as well. Hang on. There, I'll leave the cornice in because I know that's been, well, it's all been measured accurately, but the cornice is in the right place. So yes, you know, that's a good target. Top track sitting behind the shelf. In reality, if it was a little above that, it wouldn't matter. If it's below, well, you can't put it below it, so that's academic. Ignore the fact that these are black. It's something to do with it being in a section view. It keeps jumping to an older finish on those brackets. So the shelf depths you changed. Let's just, this obviously will be on the 2D drawing, but yeah, we've got 130 there and 230 there. Let's just jump back to your notes. Top track not to extend beyond the verticals. It has to extend a little bit beyond the verticals, and if that is covered by the shelves, again, we're just tying ourselves up in knots for no reason whatsoever. You're not going to be seeing up in there. I might be able to cut it to, you know, an inch or so beyond that. This side will have an end stop on it. You see that little folded crimp there? This side is a cut length, so it won't have that crimp on. If I cut it too short, these verticals could fall off the track. So again, it's a tolerant system. There is movement in it, and if we start trying to do things to the millimetre, it's just not going to work. So with trying to get this line here to coincide with this line here, you know, approximately, yes, we can probably try and get inside, as I have done there, looking from that end view. Reasonable target, but you know, if you're compromising on the distribution of shelves, that's you're just cutting your nose off to spite your face. A nice regular distribution through here is going to have far more visual impact than definitely hitting above or below that line there. So let's just try and keep an open mind about what is going to be achievable on install day and what isn't. The room is accurately modelled. That line there, that angle, is probably the least accurate part of this model. And I'm saying that because, you know, I know it's a difficult thing to measure. The other thing that's going to sort of impact is we have got, what is that, 2012. That's an exact finished length. So with this configuration, if the skirting board is right, and you know, I'll probably need about 10 millimetres there to be on the safe side. The skirting may not be completely straight, the floor might not be completely straight. You know, there is going to be tolerance around the top and the bottom of plus or minus 10-20 millimetres. But at the moment it looks pretty good. That is an uncut length, almost touching the skirting board, finishing up here, and it all seems to work out okay with this line. But I'm not promising, because the system just ain't that accurate. What else have we got? Let's have a look at your notes again. Shelves to be installed flush with the wall? No, that's an absolute no. You need a 10mm minimum tolerance on all that side, because these walls won't be completely straight, that wall won't be completely straight. My work will be, the building won't be. I guarantee you, I stake my life on it. So this is calculated with a gap there, and what have I got? Let's just measure that face to that face. Yeah, 10mm. So yes, you know, a gap there, which it may be 0, it may be 10mm, it may be something else. Can't guarantee it. Let's go to your notes again. No top track here. You can do that, but let me point out that this depth here, I think, is... where can I get that accurately down the bottom? Oh, there it was. So, oops, bear with me. That line there, about 21mm. Now the wall mounted band, which is here, is 14mm. So what you're actually going to see in reality is I've made that face and that face mate just for the ease of the CAD model, but that edge is actually going to be sitting on that wall, and you're going to have a bigger gap here between the shelf and that line than you would on the other three. And you know, for me visually, this slimmer wall band, I'd be able to see that immediately. It's a different thickness to these three. So by eliminating that, to my mind, totally inoffensive length of track tucked behind that shelf, you're creating a different issue with the thickness of the wall band and the thickness of the hang standard. You know, it's your decision. You decide. But my way of doing things with a discrete track tucked away up there, far more better for the bulk of the visual appearance here. Now, whether that is a hang standard or a wall mounted bar, it's going to have to be cut. So the chances of anyone seeing how that is terminated and that is terminated are almost negligible, but you know, that is going to be a cut piece of steel. And if there's any issues with sort of this length here, then those would have to be cut as well. But if we can work to a standard stock length there, 2012mm, that's what I would do. You know, you don't want to be cutting this stuff ideally. The cuts aren't ugly, but they're not painted, and over years that cut edge will discolour. Inside it's not going to rust, it's just going to go black, but I avoid cutting them as a rule. This one, if you do a wall band, it's going to be cut. Even with a little bit of track there and a hang standard, that is going to have to be a cut length, but this is the only one anyone is ever going to be able to see. You're not going to be able to see that one, or that one. Okay, so I'm not too worried about that. It's going to have to be cut, whether it's a wall band or a hang standard. What else have we got? Make sure this shelf doesn't stick out here. Yeah, I've covered that. I think you're focusing on the wrong things, but adjusted number and spacing of shells. Yes, okay, I think I've got that. The distribution of the shells will be on the 2D drawing. Verticals to terminate, one hole below the bottom bracket. Each bracket uses 2 pairs of slots, and this is now a reasonably accurate model, so I suggest it will actually be, let's just hang on, let's just make that translucent. Can we do that quickly? Yep. Yeah, so that is using 1 slot, and it's going to slightly, no, that distribution isn't quite right. This is a level of accuracy that you're asking me to do here that the system just is not made for. So, as I've said, that is a stock length. My strong recommendation is that we leave that as a stock length. Let's just have a look through the rest of your notes. No top track here. My advice is rethink that. Smaller brackets, yes, I've done that. I think the brackets are 120 with a 130 shelf, and these will be 270 brackets with a 280 shelf. I think, yes. It'll be on the 2D drawing. Right, yeah, that's a nice choice. The ply, I haven't costed for that yet, but that's easy to do. I've had that before from C Workshop. I think that's everything. I'm going to send you, I think what I'll do is I'll quickly do you one version with a track here and one version with the wall band, and then that will be your choice. Cool, alright, speak soon.